Hello and welcome to P2P Live, where we are live on LinkedIn, Twitter and Facebook. I am Hannah Scanlan, manager at People2People and your host for today. As we are getting closer towards the end of the year, we thought we would do things a little different and take the opportunity to look back at the first nearly 3 quarters of 2024. This week, we will be breaking down the leading employment and job market trends that have been impacting the talent landscape across the country, as we review the top discussions featuring our recruitment experts from throughout the year. So let's jump right into this week's live UK market update.
We're now joined by Senior Consultant Maddy Laing. Welcome to the show, Maddy.
Thank you, Liz.
Now, Maddy, as we're interviewing many candidates, one common question we get asked is, how can you explain gaps in your CV or employment history? So can you share your perspective on gaps in employment history?
Yeah, definitely. So I think firstly, it's really important to remember that gaps in employment can occur for many different reasons. So you might be injured or dealing with an illness or taking care of a family member, also redundancies, study, upskilling and travel. There's so many reasons why, you might have a gap in your CV. So it's important just to kind of understand what that gap is. No matter what the reason, I guess when answering questions about gaps in your CV, it's really important just to be honest and open. Remember that circumstances are sometimes beyond your control and don't always need to reflect negatively on your work experience as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree. So how would you explain a gap in your CV or employment history?
Yeah, so I guess when explaining gaps in your CV, you want to make sure that you're framing the reason and circumstances that are within your control in a really positive light. So it's always a good idea to explain the reason for your gap in your CV in writing, so have it on your CV. For example, if I was traveling between May 2023 and May 2024, I would list that as a reason for a gap on my CV, along with experience that followed it or preceded it. Clearly listing these gaps in writing can definitely just dispel some of the negative preconceived ideas about gaps in your CV and why you may not be working and not having to have that conversation straight away. And when the topic is brought up as well in your interview, you'll be able to discuss it, I guess, in a more positive light because it's already quite clear why there was that gap. I think most importantly, and we always, tell candidates, make sure you don't stress about gaps in your CV. While many businesses are aiming to be a bit more inclusive and may not ask about gaps in your CV, some companies still want to understand this, and it's not negative. It just gets them a more holistic view of your background and what's been happening. So it's not always a negative chance, but a really good opportunity to emphasize your different skill sets that you might have acquired if you did go travel, where that was as well. And just, really remain, I guess, professional, and remember as well that, many people within the professional environment and who you might be interviewing with has probably had a gap in their CV as well. So just be honest, keep it brief, and focus on the positives, emphasizing, what you can bring to an employer as, I guess, a potential skill set and a benefit to them.
Yeah, absolutely. Transparency is key always.
Yeah.
Now, if someone wanted to get in touch with you, Maddy, to get some advice or talk about how they can explain, gaps in their CV, how can they reach you?
Yeah, so reach out. I'm on LinkedIn. Otherwise, you can get our contact details online. Give us a call, WhatsApp, email, or the communication forms. We'll be there to have a chat about your job search, any questions, or just, being, I guess, a bit of a voice to help sound your answers out.
Fantastic. Thank you. Thanks for joining.
Nice. Thank you.
you, Manish. We're now joined by the lovely Aalia Sipos. Thank you, Ali, for joining us.
Thanks for having me. Second one this week. We're on live together.
And today you're going to be talking about the vital role of employee retention in the UK job market. So I'm very excited to hear about this.
Yes, I think it's important to know that the UK job market is quite dynamic, so the importance of retaining employees cannot be overstated. With talent scarcity, economic fluctuations, and the shifting societal values that are shaping the employment landscapes, business face a crucial imperative to focus on retaining their staff.
Yeah, absolutely. And how, I guess, what advice would you give to foster stability in the workplace?
So retaining employees fosters stability within organisations. In an environment where change is constant, retaining skills and retaining skilled employees preserves institutional knowledge and industry experience, and it can provide businesses with a competitive edge.
Absolutely. And as we all know, the cost of turnover is quite costly. So as a business, keeping costs down is really important.
Yeah, it can be quite substantial. And I guess what's involved in that is recruitment expenses, training costs, productivity losses during that transitional period can amount to about 50 to 200% of an employee's annual salary. So retaining existing employees not only reduces these expenses, but also safeguards investments or the investment in that person as well.
Absolutely. And another important thing, I guess, would be the reputation, brand reputation.
Brand reputation is everything. And I think that's so vital in our world at the moment as well. So employee retention impacts, employer brandings and market perception. So businesses, businesses perceive as employers, business of choice, and how do they attract then top talent? So that gives other businesses, a competitive edge in the market if you're retaining your staff. And conversely, high turnover rates can tarnish reputations and then deter potential employees. So I think from our perspective as well, when we're looking at candidates in the market, we do look at how long they were with a business for, because that contributes to their impact and what can they then bring to, say, a new business.
Yeah, absolutely. So it almost goes both ways, doesn't it? So when we're reviewing people, we want to know their tenure and their track record. And when people are coming to interview, they also want to know things about your retention in a business, because that's important too. And Aalia, if somebody wants to get in touch to talk to you or get some advice, how can they reach you?
Yeah, so my direct line, 07340854906, or on my email, which is aalia@peopletopeople.co.uk.
And that's it for this week. Thank you for joining us for this special edition of our market update. We will be back next week on Friday at 12:30. See you then.